Men would not have to be dependent. Black women would not have to be strong if black men were strong.
When you speak in absolutes, you end up isolating the parties that you want to see the change from. Describe, let's talk about it.
Men would not have to be dependent. Black women would not have to be strong if black men were strong and black men were the shoulders that black women could lean on. But that's not a discussion you guys are ready for. Of course, let's just all blame black women. All right.
We'll take this conversation in an interesting turn. When you constantly look at black men, or you constantly look at people and you say, you all blame us, you all are the problem, you're essentially isolating people that you want to see a changed behavior from. It's not really effective. Negative reinforcement is good in lower thinking animals, but when people can reason for themselves and people can look at the world for themselves, they especially now say, wait a second. When you constantly throw stones and hide your hand, people say, yo, you're not blameless. This is the problem with part of this conversation, where you simply cast aspirations constantly without admitting any of your fault. We were taught when we were younger, if you're trying to solve something, one of the most effective ways in that communication is admitting and saying, hey, listen, I was wrong when I thought and I said this, and you almost like you offer that out. That gets that other person out of that defensive mode. That's what we don't see in these conversations. We understand that both parties have issues with the other. We understand that both parties have real issues that they can call upon, real examples that they can call upon. But when we have these conversations, we start speaking with the absolutes in the large swaths. That's when you lose a lot of men who may have been willing to actually work with you, who were saying, hey, you know what? You may have a point. Whenever you come on here and say, you men have to do better, you're talking to men that are there's some that are indifferent, ambivalent, or who actually are trying to be better. Young boys have said one of the worst things that they experience is constantly being told that they're bad just because of their gender, not because of any individual action, not because of anything they've said, simply for existing and saying X, Y, and Z. Now, I can imagine that as a black woman, you feel the same way, that there's a constant deluge of people dunking on you, saying that here's a problem. But when you cannot acknowledge that there are problems amongst your people, then we find ourselves where we find ourselves, with an inability to move forward, with an inability to look at the data and say, what are we talking about? We get like this in the black community. Things almost have to be perfect to actually get any type of traction. We're nitpicking at some very small things that doesn't really get us anywhere. But we can play that game out. We can do that. But first, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, so you don't miss no uploads. Subscribe. If you get any type of value from the channel, we're on that push to 5,000 subscribers. So can't get there without you. So if you get some value from the channel, or you like the topics, or you're interested, if you just like seeing my face, subscribe to the channel. Now, look, we'll play this out. We'll play this out to its logical, conclusion. If you hear saying that, well, it's always a problem with black women, right? If black men did X, Y, and Z, then you wouldn't have to be strong. You wouldn't have to be this. Where we are now, what if the response is, so what? What if the response is, so what? Because I believe that's where we're heading. When we've done such a great job of constantly isolating or constantly blaming a specific gender and then a specific race and gender, eventually you get enough people. What you see now is people taking a step back. Essentially, that step back is saying, so what? Black men, you guys don't do this. You're not fathers. You're not in the homes. You're not this. You're not that. Despite any type of data showing otherwise, you get to a point where you have black men who were looking and said, you know what? After a while, you get tired of hearing it. You get tired of hearing how evil and awful you are when you've never done those things in your life. You get tired of being called the problem when you've never been really problematic. You haven't done these things to black women. You haven't done these things to women. You just get to a point where you get exhausted, fatigued, and tired. And now the response after that is, so what? Oh, it's because only black men were strong. So what? They know that in their own lives, they don't move like that. essentially what ends up suffering the most is the idea of community, is the idea that when I see you on the street, I see you as my sister, I see you as someone that I should look out for. Essentially, I just see you as another individual that's going to point the finger back at me, be upset that I exist. Now, is this fair? Is this really accurate? No, but it's reality. It's how people actually communicate, how people internalize messaging that they hear all the time from people that look like them. Now, imagine the very same way. This young woman is probably tired of hearing the very same things about Black women from Black men. This is why these conversations never really get anywhere fruitful. We're surrounded and inundated by messaging that constantly blames the other race, the other gender. It leaves us stuck in the same sort of pattern. Now, I think I would not be remiss from saying that social media has been flooded with misandry, has been flooded with, hey, I don't like men, I hate men, constant statements like that, versus the pockets of misogyny that you see are often ones that are labeled as so. If a man expresses his opinion, all of a sudden he's either DL, he's spiked, or he's misogynistic. If he says, I want a woman with a low body count, he's misogynistic. It's a patriarchy. There's this leap, this interpretive leap that is done consistently to get a man into that space where you could say he's bad, he's misogynistic, where you have women flat out saying, I hate men. I hate men. And they use that and they champion that. And I think this is what actually makes sense. And it's fine for them to say it. My question is, what happens when the men just say, all right, cool. All right, cool. We're all those things. Don't care to change. Don't care to do anything that's supposed to actually alleviate your suffering, your pain, anything like that. You're constantly telling men that they need to change, that they need to improve, yet you're giving them absolutely no reason to do so. When they say this is what's important to us, this is what we're looking for, this is what we want, and someone that potentially would be a wife, a mate, and you continually say, no, that's misogynistic. No, that's the patriarchy. Essentially, you want people, you want men to buy into a product. You want them to buy something that they've clearly said, that is not what I want. But I want you to pay the higher price. I want you to pay half of everything you've ever made. From this day on, I want half of anything you ever created for you to buy this product where you're saying this is not what I want. Until we get to a space where we can have clearly defined goals. When you say, if Black men were strong, what do you mean by that? What exactly are you trying to say? What is strength? What is strong? And then how can you say this is all the Black men? When I hear that, all I end up thinking is that it reveals the level of yourself and the people around you. If you feel, or if you're saying that Black men do not stand up, Black men do not do X, Y, and Z for Black women, when we very much so know demonstrably that it does happen. The same thing when women say, yo, men are not approaching. Men are approaching, they're not approaching you. If what you're saying is true, if what you're saying is actually true, because I think a lot of people come here and simply repeat something they heard previously that did well or sounded well, or people in the comments are very favorable towards them. That attention and validation is still powerful, still important to a lot of people. So instead, you'll simply go along with what someone said and you never have that experience for yourself. You say, all these Black men in Ain't Eze and all the brothers in your life, your actual brothers are great men, but you feel fine, you feel comfortable saying that nonsense. You talk bad about Black men, you say they're weak. Your father wasn't weak. You knew your father, he was in your life, but it's more important that you get along to get along, so you say these things. What happens when men just say, or enough men in mass just say, you know what? Yeah, we're all those things. I'm not going to change. We don't care anymore. We don't care to be disparaged anymore. Just say what you want to say. Do what you want to do. Let us all retire to our corners, live out our lives according to how we need. You want men to step up and be more and initiate these relationships? We've been saying no. What you're seeing is this slow creep, this slow change, where it sounds good, it sounds impressive when you talk about, look, you know, the birth rate is dropping. That's because the men aren't stepping up. The men aren't really good candidates. The birth rate has been dropping for decades. But we're literally celebrating the end of our species. Right? The slow decline, the end of our species. That's what we're celebrating. I mean, at least when it comes down to relationships or when it comes to westernized countries. Other places are doing just fine. They all kind of have a couple of things in common though. And it's not our ideal of relationships. It's not how we look at partnerships here. But listen, I could be wrong. You know, if you think so, let me know down in the comments below. If you see other videos on your screen, check those out. Let me know your thoughts about those in those videos. Of course, you listen to my voice now, you have not subscribed. I think you should. We're just trying to build something dope. I'll see you in the next one.